Hey there, it's Sheryl, mental toughness coach, published author, speaker, and mother to a couple of great kids who are now high school and college Division I student athletes. Today we're going to talk about one tip for teens to start the new year out as awesome as possible. But first, I think we need to give teens a little credit. Academics are more competitive now than ever, and I know certainly way more competitive back when I was a teen. So we need to give them some credit because I know they're working incredibly hard. And the same for athletics. Once teens get to high school, athletics are highly competitive just to make it onto a team. And then once they make it onto a team, it's very difficult for them to gain traction and they have to work really hard to excel. So I want to give them some credit where credit is due because I know most teens are working extremely hard in academics and athletics. So what's the one tip for teens to help them have an awesome next year? Well, what it is to help them gain some clarity. When I work with teens and teams for that matter, the one thing that is most anxiety producing in them and gives them a little bit of stress is not having control. So with academics, teens don't have control over what college they're going to get into or how difficult an exam's going to be. There's a lot they don't have control over. And the same with their sport. They may not have control over how much playing time they get or what position they're going to play. It's just not up to them. So if we can give them the gift of some clarity, meaning understanding what's important to them and why, then we can then give them some control about what they can do to make some progress. And that should make them feel a little better. Since teens do not have a clear crystal ball at this point, which is completely normal, we can ask them a couple questions that's going to help them gain some clarity and in turn be able to also gain some control so they can have a great year. First, they need to ask themselves, what is important to me for my sport and why in regards to athletics? So if they start to understand that, then they can make some plans for what are they going to do that they have control over so they can make progress. The second thing is they can ask, what exactly do I need to do to make progress and why is that important to me? So again, they can come up with some concrete things that they have control over that they can get done. For example, they want more playing time. That is awesome. But what can they do that they have control over to get more playing time? They can't control what the coach is thinking or what the coach is going to do, but they can control how much they practice and what they practice. So that's why that question is really important. And finally, they can ask, what do I love about my sport? And the reason why this is very important for clarity is because they can understand really why they play and they can make a decision about how they go about it and how they really want to think about how much playing time they have, or even if they're not getting the amount of playing time they want. What do they truly love about their sport? Do they love their teammates? Do they love the energy? Do they love the support that they get from the team? So if they can think about what they truly love about their sport, it's going to give them some control about why they're out there and why they're doing what they're doing, and that can help them feel pretty great about it. For academics, they can ask themselves a couple questions as well that'll help with clarity. The first one being is, what am I doing at school that really lights me up in the way of an extracurricular? So clubs or groups or things that they do outside of their classes. And then ask, is there something that I'm doing that really I don't get a lot of joy out of? And if that is the case, then they can really evaluate if they want to keep doing it or not. And that's very powerful because I know a lot of teens are really pressed for time. They don't get a lot of sleep, and that's problematic. So they really need to think long and hard about what they are doing in high school, if it lights them up, if it's important to them, and if they really want to do it. The answer is no, then it might be time to reevaluate and see if it can get cut out so they can get maybe some more sleep or work a little harder in school or use that time a little differently, or change it around so they can add something that they do really like. So that's a very powerful question. Then also, the second thing that they could ask about academics is when they look back on the last 4 years, let's say they're a graduating senior and they look back on the last 4 years, what do they want to remember about high school and what will make them most proud of themselves? And that can be a very powerful question as well, because they can evaluate right now what they're doing and then have control over changing it if they need to. So those are a couple questions that teens can ask themselves to gain a little clarity and in turn take a little bit of control out there of their sport and of their academics. So here's a parent and coach tip. When talking to teens, it's incredibly important to focus on the process and not the outcome. That is going to give teens some control and it's going to calm them down, which is vital when coming up to a competition, an exam, or any type of event that's really important to them. For example, if they're going to compete, they need to hear and understand and hear from coaches and or parents that it's not about the score or winning or losing. What it's about is the process of them playing their best. Again, what are a couple things that they have control over in order for them to play their best, and they need to focus on those two things. For academics, it's not about the grades. I know parents, bite your tongue. I have to do it too. I'm in the same boat. This is a tough one. But it's really not about the grades. What it's about is our kids performing at their highest level possible in order to end up getting the good grades. So the focus is not on the grades. The focus is how well are they rested? How consistently do they prepare? How hard do they study? Do they know how to ask questions when they need to? All of those things, that's the process. Those are things that they have control over. So if we can give teens the gift of having a little clarity and control, the wins will come and the grades will come. They're just a product of the process, if that makes any sense. So if you found this content helpful, I ask that you share on Facebook or you pass it along to a friend, a teen, a coach, or other parents so they can have a look too. I'm here to help any way I can, whether it's via one-on-one coaching. I have conference calls that are live. I work with groups of teens because that's more fun for them. They don't always want to work with just me. And also I have a course titled A Teen's Guide to Mental Toughness. And of course on my website at SherylKline.com, there's an amazing library of free resources. So I encourage you to look at that. And finally, if anyone wants to talk to me and consult, I'm glad to do that, of course, for free, for 30 minutes to see how I can help your teen or your team to be awesome. I look forward to seeing you next time.